Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan from Boredom Sated.
And I'm Boris from Boredom Sated.
Today, we're going to do something a little different. Considering the release of the Advanced Player's Guide from Pathfinder 2, we decided that we wanted to use the new rules for character changes that they did. Well, not changes, but the new character archetypes. Exactly, the archetypes. And try to put an archetype on top of one of the classes already to make a more, not necessarily a more powerful character, but not a role-playing specifically efficient character, but a combat efficient character that uses both things.
Yeah. So you go first with your build, then Jonathan.
Well, why don't we again do kind of let's discuss the build and then just talk about what we picked at each level.
Right, that's fine.
Okay, so what I decided to do was I decided to go with a fighter Cavalier. What the fighter Cavalier does is basically I made a knight. I made a character that basically just rides on a mount and hits very hard with their attack. Fighters have the legendary attack ability, but a lot of the fighter feats are kind of boring. So instead of taking fighter feats, I made it so I took a bunch of mount feats. So I basically have a pretty powerful pet that I also ride into combat. The way I decided to do it was I went half orc because of the new orc feats from the Advanced Player's Guide allow you to give your pet ferocity and give you additional ferocity benefits. So basically, with all of my racial feats or my for those, I went all ferocity benefits.
Right. So that's actually pretty funny because we did not discuss what we're all of the ancestries and all of that, what we were planning to until we made the decision and told each other. So when I was building mine, which is a Beastmaster on a Ranger, and just for certain efficiencies, but there's other classes that can work out well too. I also went with the Orc because of the benefit of the giving all of those extra ferocities to your companions, to your pets.
Yeah, we did not. This is actually the first time that I knew that he did that. I mentioned it to him a few minutes ago, but this is the first time he told me. I did it mostly just for something new. I thought about it in multiple different ways, and if you want me to be honest, you can do this in so many different character class ways anyway. Like, as an example, just a couple of quick ones. You can do this as I thought about doing it as a human with a horse, just because it would be more standard. I thought about doing this as a dwarf on a bear because I love the idea of bear cavalry. I thought about doing it as a small size character because you can do a small size character and that way your mount only gets to medium size, so you can use it indoors. Because the big problem with the cavalry characters in general is that getting them into when you have to go into a dungeon, and this is Dungeons and Dragons, or Pathfinder and Dragons. The point is that if you have that problem, then you can't do anything about it. It's like you can't bring your mount into one of those places unless it can fit the large size creatures. Now, obviously, for both of our builds, we've got to have a lot of large size creatures, so dungeons is going to be an issue anyway. But mine is specifically based on the idea that I'm going to be riding my mount. So I went with the half-orc riding a boar. Boar is one of the new creatures that they decided to put in the Advanced Player's Guide as well. And again, I wanted to try something a little different.
Right. Same thing with mine. You can go different ways. For example, I went with the Ranger just for some feat efficiency and because I really wanted to max out the creatures. But if you're okay and not really maxing the number of creatures you have and maxing out the creatures significantly, you can have a really great build with a rogue and one animal companion, and constantly have you don't need another player to assist you. You constantly have your enemy flat-footed, and you're sneaking attack them with the companion constantly. It's a little bit of a middle-level build, but it works just as well, and you have an animal companion that also can hit reasonably well. But in this build, I went with the Ranger just for feat efficiency, and I really wanted to push the animals to their maximum potential.
Absolutely. I saw there's ways to going about it. Now, you might say Rangers can already do a pet. Well, Rangers can do a single pet. The Beastmaster makes it so you can do additional pets, and they have slightly more powerful abilities. And when you mix it with the abilities the Ranger can do that the Beastmaster can't, it makes the pets that much more powerful.
Yeah. So, legitimately, at approximately somewhere between 16th and 20th level, depending on how you build, you can have you're sacrificing your 3 actions, but you're getting the following: you're getting 3 attacks at the almost maximum, almost the same to hit as you would get, rather than a multi-attack penalty. You're getting a bonus to your damage because you have an assistant from, whether it's a bear or a bird, assisting you from the spiritual companion that you're summoning, and you're hitting the target that's flat-footed. So it's really does in combat. Once you get into combat, it really gives you a lot of high level 2 hits and gives you that sort of that extra slight boost in efficiency because you're not multi-attacking and getting the same 2 hit rolls.
It's always good to be able to try to avoid the multi-attack penalty if you can, especially if you're not a fighter, because the fighter is really, or if you're playing a Ranger and going with the reduced multi-attack build. But he's not really worrying about that in this build because it is the way it is.
Yep.
Now, there's lots of other things to... Obviously, your build still has to be a melee build because you can only get the additional damage.
Exactly.
Well, not the additional damage, but you can only get the additional, the flat-footed bonus if you and the pet are in melee together.
In melee. Yeah. You can't be a ranged Ranger.
What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and discuss what feats and things we took in case you want to try these builds out. Now, my build is based on the idea of literally just hitting ridiculously hard on a charge attack, and because I chose the boar can also charge, get a bonus to his attack, and work with it that way. But we'll discuss that as we get there. So first things first, at level 1, our feats that we took, just to make things quick, because level 1 isn't going to matter as much. I obviously know what level 1 feat you took, but yes. I took Orc Ferocity as my level 1 Ancestry feat, and I took Reactive Shield as my level 1 Fighter feat. Reactive Shield makes it so that if I did not raise my shield, I can still use the shield reaction anyway to avoid taking damage. Right. In case you guys had not realized, the way that my build works is, again, I'm going with a knight. I am going with a mount, and I'm a shield. That is basically my whole thing.
Yep. I took animal companion just for the efficiency in trying to get the most number of animal companions possible with the less number of feats, and Orc Ferocity, just like you.
Exactly. You have to start with Orc Ferocity. We work for the other stuff later. At level 2, we have the obvious answer, which is that he took the Beastmaster feat, I took the Cavalier feat.
Yep.
At level 3, I need to just mention, at level 3, I used the General feat. The reason why I became a half-orc, I used the General feat to get an additional Ancestry feat to make it so that I could take Power Attack.
Okay. Because I need to keep up with my animal companions, the General feat I took is Fleet to give them the bonus to move. This way they can, sort of a little bit of a role playing, but also, trying to get movement efficiency so I'm not behind them, because a lot of them do move, up to 10 feet faster than I do per action.
And that's fair. So at level 4, I am sticking with the Cavalier bonus and taking Impressive Mount. Impressive Mount makes it so that they become mature animals. If you're going to go with a pet build, you need to make them mature as quickly as possible. What the mature animal does, and again, this is something we'll both have obviously in our builds, is the mature animal gets an additional +1 to Strength, Dex, Wisdom, and Constitution. I believe it also gives them, it makes it so that they are, gets them an additional die on their attacks, and I think it increases their saving throws to expert.
Yeah. And I took pretty much the same, but I took the Beastmaster mature because unlike the Ranger mature, it affects all your companions, not just one.
Well, you also took the Beastmaster mature instead of the Ranger mature because the Ranger mature doesn't happen until level 6.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, the Beastmaster mature is better in the for all of those is better than the Ranger version.
Right.
So there's no reason to worry. The reason why is because the Beastmaster is done at the same speed as the Druid, as opposed to doing it at the same speed as the Ranger. But that's because the Ranger is a better fighter himself than the Druid is.
Right.
So that's level 4. Level 5, I took Beast Trainer as my
so did I.
Orc feat again because my goal is to make it so that again we can make our beasts a little more powerful,
significantly better. Yep. So then at level 6, this is where it's a flip call which way you want to go. I went with Incredible Beastmaster Companion. You could try to get an additional, but I just wanted the companion added as quickly as possible.
I'm pretty sure Incredible doesn't happen until level 8.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I took much additional. Then you have at 6th level. I took additional.
That's what I thought you did. I don't have your list. That's what I thought you did.
I just wrote them down quickly. So
at level 6, I took Mounted Shield. What Mounted Shield does is makes it so that I can use my shield block for my pet instead of me if they attack my pet instead of me. This is again a Cavalier feat.
Yep. And then then we go to
now level 8.
And that this is where I took the Incredible Beastmaster. So now I have two companions at pretty much Incredible Beastmaster. Actually, 3 companions at Incredible Beastmaster.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
You have 3 companions at this point.
Yeah.
So I also took Incredible Mount, which makes it so that I now have the max, the Incredible version of the Mount. This makes it so it now gets its special ability. The special ability it gets a special attack. The special attack for the Boar is Boar Charge, which makes it so that it can do double its movement and then make an attack at the end, which is just fantastic. And it makes it so that, again, I have a charge attack without having to take the feat for it. Because there's also a version in Cavalier for it, but I said, I'll just take it in Boar. It'll make my life that much easier. The exact wording is, the Boar strikes twice in a line and then makes a tusk strike as long as it moved at least 20 feet. It gains a +2 circumstance bonus to the attack roll. So at this point, it's hit pretty freaking hard.
Yep.
The other thing that at this point I get as a fighter specifically is that I get to take every day I get to take a fighter feat for free, an additional fighter feat that I work for free, which is why at this point I would take Quick Shield Block, which allows me to basically get a free action every turn to raise my shield, so I can now make my pet move for a single action, double move if I need to, Boar Charge if I need to. I raise my shield for free, and I can power attack for myself. So I've got a raised shield, I've got a very high AC, I've got my mount making a charged attack for a bonus to hit, and I've got a power attack for myself. And if I go with the lance makes it so that you can hold it in one hand. It changes it from D8 to D6, but as long as you're mounted, you can use it in one hand. If I move at least 10 feet, or my mount moves at least 10 feet on the attack before I make it, it doubles the dice. So it basically makes it so that at max level, and I have a +3 to hit and damage, a +3 to hit and +3 dice weapon, my power attacking charge attack with my my lance will be doing 4d8 from the weapon, 4d8 from jousting, and or 46 from the weapon, 46 from jousting, and 3 additional d6 from the power attack. 11 d6 is nothing to sneeze at.
Yep. So then at 10th level, I took Enlarge Companion, which casts a 4th level heightened version of Enlarge, which at this point gives them +4 to hit, which even though I can only cast it once on one of the companion, it still makes the companion that much better.
I think it's +4 to. I don't think it gives +4 to hit. Usually the Enlarge is actually reduced to hit.
No, it's +4. It's at a 4th level height. It's +4 to hit.
I will look that up later because I don't think that's the case. Anyway, at level 9, we also need to talk about that. I took Undying Ferocity for myself, which makes it so that I get temporary hit points whenever I go into Ferocity. At level 10, I took Reflexive Shield.
Yeah, I took the same. It sounds like the orc feats we pretty much copied.
Yeah, we probably took the exact same orc feats. At level 10, I took Reflexive Shield. What Reflexive Shield does is makes it so that I can I know that honestly, I didn't write it down. So what Reflexive Shield does is makes it so that I can what am I thinking? Right. It makes it so that when I gain my shield, I gain the shield circumstance bonus to my reflex saves, because my reflex saves are going to be crap.
Yep.
That's a big thing. I definitely needed to take that. Moving on to level 12, I took Paragon's Guard. Again, this makes it so that I can spend an action to, as long as I'm wielding a shield, it basically makes it so I'm now in a stance, and I can now use my raised shield as an action as long as it meets the requirement. I don't have to use my action for it. It is automatically raised all the time, because I am now in a stance, which allows me to have my shield raised automatically.
Right. At 12, I used Beastmaster. I grabbed Beastmaster Call, allowing me to I'm still can only walk around with one companion, but it allows me to call a secondary companion, and they will utilize their companion assistance for 1 round. And it takes an action, but it does make my in most cases I would want to increase my damage by calling either my bear or my bird companion.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
At 13, we probably both took Ferocious Beasts.
Yes.
At 14, I took Specialized Mount, because my boar is now specialized. There are a lot of ways to go for your specialization for your mount, for your animal. I think that Boris has told me that he's going to go Bully, which gives them bonus to strength, and it makes it so that they now can intimidate, which is kind of nice.
Yes.
I thought about going Bully, because that would definitely max out his damage potential, but I thought it would be more fun to go with the Racer, because the Racer gives him a 10-foot speed bonus and increases his Fortitude save to Legendary, and its Constitution increases by 1. So this will increase his hits and make it so he has Legendary Fortitude saves. And because I'm going to be riding on him, I want to make sure he survives pretty well. So I hope that his Fortitude saves become as high or not higher than mine.
Right, and that makes perfectly sense, because yours is primarily you're a Cavalier. Yours is a riding mount, whereas mine, I want to max them out in their damage and to hit bonus, and that strength bonus adds to both.
Yep, it's an additional +1 to hit and damage, and that is definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
Level 16, I took improved Reflexive Shield. Because at level 16, improved Reflexive Shield makes it so that I can now block against damage resulting from a reflex save. Adjacent allies who would take damage to reflex saves against the same effect also benefit from my damage reduction.
Right.
So I can now actually block damage from that. As I said, this is a shield-based bonus, and allies include my pet.
Yes. Yeah. And I took Lead the Pack, which now allows me to have the 2 animals with me, utilizing one action to give them 1 attack each, and at their maximum because they're not utilizing their second attacks, which gives you a really high to hit bonus, especially if you enlarge them.
It is very important to mention with this specific feat that Boris is taking that if you do not give an action for them, normally your pet can move. Only one of them gets a free movement if you do not give them an action that round. If you do spend an action to have them move, you can only either give one of them 2 actions or both of them 1 action. That's the reason why the big downfall of this build is the movement. They only get 1 movement per round at most, or one of them is going to stay behind. So the problem is, again, action economy is very difficult for pet builds. So this is going to make it so taxing your action economy is very difficult until everyone gets in combat, at which point it becomes very, very strong.
Right. And it's if you have to get into combat every single time, clearly there's a drawback. But if once, I'm sure to make it fair, the GM does have creatures charge you. And if they run into you and your pack, they're going to get... They're not going to be happy campers.
Yeah, the problem is if you take out a group and then you go and take out another group and then you go and take out another group and then you go and take out another group, it takes forever. Yes. Whereas my build, I'll move to a guy, attack, and then I'll just move to another guy and attack because I've got a 90-foot movement per round.
Yes.
So, by the way, the enlarge, you actually get a -1 to hit, but it's +4 to damage.
Oh, really?
Yes, okay. Because you become Clumsy 1, and Clumsy 1 gives you -1 to your attack rolls and reflex saves, and you get a +4 to the melee damage, and your reach is increased by 10. Being enlarged does not help you hit.
It helps you to the damage, right?
Yes. I'm literally looking at it right now.
No. I'm just...
Level 18, Savage critical. I want to crit on 19 to 20.
Yep. And for me, I went with side by side, which now, when we're in combat, make sure that you don't have to flank with your animal. All they have to do is be near you and engage the same creature, and the individual is considered flat-footed.
Yeah, very useful. And then level 20, I took Legendary Rider. However, if I really wanted to, I could also take the fighter version. What it does is gives me an additional action per round that I can use specifically to command my mount. So my build is completely based on action economy. My mount moves for free. My shield is raised for free. So I can do whatever the hell I want combat-wise.
Yep. For my 20th, I took the specialized Beastmaster companion, which gives a specialization to all your companions. So I gave, I chose a vulture, a bear, and a riding drake. And the vulture and the bear I gave bullies so they can get the better to hit and better to damage bonus. And then the Drake, I gave him the flying racer. So
you can see that these builds are both pretty fun. They do a lot of really cool stuff. They do things that you couldn't do before, especially the Beastmaster. You definitely couldn't do before this. You could sort of do my build if you really wanted to with a paladin before, with a champion, but it just doesn't work as well, whereas my build is definitely more, straight combat and straight defense based. They're both good. They both could definitely work pretty well in a campaign.
Right.
If you want to try it out yourself, please go ahead. Honestly, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to try my Cavalier build. I love my build that much.
I believe that this is a decent build, and it could work really well with a rogue, although I probably wouldn't recommend going with a lot of animals, just one. And getting once you get the side by side, you don't need help. Everybody's always flat-footed, and you're going to be sneak attacking them significantly.
Another build you can go for that I thought of with his is actually to do it as a druid. Do it as a human druid and make it so that you go into both the pet build part and you go into turning yourself into creatures as well. So
Oh,
you're part of your own pack. I thought about that and thought it would be a really, really neat, but you then have the question of can they understand you when you give them orders and all of that kind of fun stuff. But
right.
it's a very neat idea to be able to try that, and if your GM would allow it, it would be hilarious.
Yes, definitely. So please comment what you think of the build. Give us any ideas. Let us know what other type of builds you think would work well with these or any others. Let us know what you would like us to discuss, any of the other archetypes. And please like, subscribe. And this is Boris from Boredom Sated.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan from Boredom Stated. Have a good time. See you guys next time.